So this is our top 5 draft pick PlayStation games of all time. Now this is our top 5, not necessarily the top 5. So if it's
don't
not,
go hating on this.
yeah, if it's not in your top 5, that doesn't mean it's not a good game. It's just this is what our picks are. So
what? They ain't got this game. Flip their table over.
right, and so this could be any PlayStation game from any generation. Yeah, which is that makes it a lot harder for me, I think, because
it is a lot harder, but it's a lot more fun doing it that way.
Yeah.
Because if you got one specific like system in your head, you be like, oh, it's easy to name those top games that you had for the PS1,
right,
PS2, but to name it across all systems because of how many games it is and your favorite ones for each system, it's crazy.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna have to just like do at least one from each one, and then maybe 2
that falls in.
From I mean, because PS5 doesn't have enough
games
on its own, I think, for me to just be like, oh yeah. So, do you want to go first, or?
I will go first because I've been thinking about this list since I've been seeing reactions to stuff like this.
Okay.
And nobody ever says Midnight Club Edition, Midnight Club Dub Edition remix.
Oof. Midnight
that has
Club.
To be one of the best.
That's your number one? That's your number one draft pick?
That is my number one draft. Midnight Club Dub Edition remix had to be the best one. Midnight Club.
He's going underground with the first draft pick. He said, I don't give a fuck.
So that game is so underrated. The customizations to the actual racing, I love that game.
You know what? That's fair. That makes me want to go rogue on my first pick and just be like, pick some shit randomly. I think my number one. Well, I get to pick 1 and 2 now. Mm-hmm. So I think my number one is going to be Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus.
Next pick. This is my next pick. That game was fire.
I think Sly Cooper. Now, you could really pick any of the like Sly Cooper games. I think Sly Cooper is just great, but to make it easy, we'll go with the first one on PS2.
Okay.
Like Sly Cooper is incredibly underrated, I think, in my opinion. Like that is one of the best like platformer games I've ever played.
Sly Cooper is definitely fire. Since you took that, it made me think of another game. Hopefully you don't take it on this one.
So you're not gonna be happy about this pick either. Well, I don't know. It might not bother you that much. I don't know. But my second pick is Tekken 3. Tekken 3 has to be one of the best fighting games of all time. Like, if you appreciate the fighting genre, like, you have to understand what a masterpiece Tekken 3 was. Like,
and you probably would have thought that I would have picked Tekken 3 or one of the Tekkens.
I did honestly think that's why I'm picking it now, because I thought that might be in your lineup somewhere, so I had to do it now.
Well, yeah, I think I got introduced to Tekken on Tekken 3.
Okay. One of the craziest things about Tekken 3 is that Tekken 3 is pretty much a PS2 game, but they optimized it so well that it was a game at the end of the lifespan of PS1.
Yeah.
So it's technically a PS1 game, but it plays like a PS2 game. It is. They went ham on that one.
I remember playing Tekken 3 and my stepfather beating me like the stepchild that I am. That game. He beat me so bad in Tekken, he made me and my brother cry. That's one. He beat me so bad. Then 2, that was the beginning of my villain arc. To come back and beat him in Tekken. I trained, and when I tell y'all I trained.
You went to the hyperbolic time chamber, goddamn.
I trained like I was Vegeta and Goku I trained so much, and then I bought a PlayStation when I got older, joined tournaments, and came back to beat him just like he beat me. We had to play at least 60 to 70 games, and he didn't win one.
He cried after that.
He was like, "Oh man, his game changed so much." I was like, "Run it again, run it again." Oh man, but yes, it all started with Tekken 3. I'm mad that you picked that one because that was definitely on my list.
My dad like did the same thing to me, and I remember as a kid asking him one time, was like, "Dad, why don't you ever let me win?" And he was just like, "Because if I let you win, you won't understand the value of winning." And I was just like, at the time I was like, that's such an asshole move.
But now you get it though, right?
Yeah, but now he never wins anything against me. Like every fucking anything we do, I try so ridiculously hard that it's not even fun for him.
I don't let my wife win in Tekken. Like,
hell no.
Anybody who plays me in Tekken. My cousin just last weekend was talking mad trash. He was like, "Oh, I can beat you in Tekken." I had the most evilest grin on my face. He was like,
every girlfriend I've ever had has been like, "Why didn't you ever let me win at Mario Kart or whatever it is?" I'm like, we're going for heads. Like this isn't friendly competition. If you win, it's because you deserve to win. You ain't winning because I gave it to you.
Your heart out. You done played your heart out to win because it ain't happening today.
Yeah, you might want to opt for couch co-op games with me because if we're versus, I'm going for the throat every goddamn time.
Yeah, I vow to like I don't like losing, especially in Tekken. Like,
well, fighting games in general, losing, especially over and over, that's a special kind of rage that you can only that forges lifetimes.
Yeah, like man, I watch people play Tekken, like streamers and stuff play Tekken, and it's like I want to fight them, but I know I'm gonna lose because they're like super good. But it's like to get better, I feel like to get better you gotta play the best. So I would rather play them and lose and then learn their strategies.
It's like that for every game. I mean, even like shooter games, like when I was super good at Gears of War back in the day, it was the same deal. The reason I got so good is because I was playing with people that were like going into pro tournaments all the time, and I was on a pro team for a very short amount of time, but the rest of the time I had a friends list full of people that were pros, and they would invite me to scrimmages because I was good enough to go up against them, and so they would just be like, "Hey, invite that Venom dude so we can fucking get some practice." And so for me, it was just like, I wasn't going for money or nothing. It was just a matter of honor, and so I would just be tryharding so hard just to beat them, just to be like, y'all ain't pros, suck my dick. Fuck you.
Yeah, but if one of y'all ever drop out, I'm here.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. But yeah, all started with tech. So do I get the next two, or I get the next one?
No, now it's just back and forth.
All right. So since you took Tekken and Sly Cooper, I'm gonna say Ratchet and Clank.
You know what? When you said something similar, I was thinking it's got to be either Ratchet and Clank or Jak and Daxter.
I was gonna pick that one, but Ratchet and Clank I played a lot more, and it's a lot more fun to me. Ratchet and Clank, even the one that just came out, like Time Rift or whatever it was, that was a pretty fun game.
Honestly, that if I had to pick a game for PS5, I would say that's probably
the one
of the ones. I mean,
it was nostalgic, but not like old feeling, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there was definitely some like new gen elements to it for sure.
Yeah, the adventure was great. The upgraded way to get through the time rifts and everything. It was a great game. The way it was put together was a great. Not many PS5 games now come out complete, which irritates me because games back in the day had to come out complete. There was no, I'm gonna send out this DLC see, and you use that to fix what we messed up in the game. They had to come out with perfect games, and Ratchet and Clank was one of the perfect games that came out for PS5 that I would play. I would download it again and play it all over. It was a great game.
Yeah, I mean, that's super nostalgic for me, that one in particular, because I remember that being like one of my Christmas games like many years ago.
They ripped it out the package.
Yeah.
Brand new.
Yeah, that was a cool one. I don't know if I ever actually beat it though, because when I was young, I'd get fucking frustrated with shit like that. So I don't know if I actually ever beat Ratchet and Clank. I know I beat Jak and Daxter and Sly Cooper's, but I don't know that I ever beat that one.
I was a gamer in the sense, like I had to beat it. Like I could not beat it. One, because I wasn't getting video games like that.
Yeah,
but,
that's fair. I had enough video games at that point that I was like, fuck this.
I wasn't getting video games like that. One, because I was bad, and my mom was just like, nah, I'm not getting nothing. But two, we was broke. So fair. I was finishing those games. Like I was finding like stupid little gnats or glitches in the game to do stuff. Like I'd be so bored. I was finding stuff that I could do and restart over. Like even with like the old like Mario 64 games.
Oh yeah.
I was finding I before like cheat code websites and stuff came out, I was finding the little ways to get through higher levels on that. So yeah. But yeah, Ratchet and Clank, the Time Rift, the new one, beautiful, chef's kiss.
So is there a specific Ratchet and Clank, or just the first one?
The Time Rift, the one that just came out.
Oh, that's the one you're picking.
Yeah, it gave nostalgic vibes, but with the newer like graphics and updates and the new gen, the style of play, it's great. That has to be the best one in the series.
Fair. It's hard because there's so many games that it's really difficult. And when you get to PS4, there's some games that's like, would I consider that a PC game? But like there's a console port for it.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to have to go. There was one I was gonna save for a little later, because I feel like there's no way you're gonna pick this game. But I'm gonna go with Legend of the Dragoon. It's actually back here on my shelf. The Legend of Dragoon. I think I said that wrong the first time.
I don't think I played that game.
This is like hella good JRPG. Like think in the time of like Final Fantasy VII.
Okay.
But this one was like, you had these suits of armor that once you got like farther in, you would basically turn into like half dragon people when you'd fucking go all out and use their shit. And I just remember thinking that was like the coolest fucking thing in the world when I was younger. It was so like, and JRPGs were so, there was a certain element of like magic to them in a way back then, because they were just so different from all the American games, you know? So there was just like this element of like, I don't know.
I didn't get into games like that actually until I met you. What, like a year, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Like that's when I started getting into games like that, and I was like, oh, these games are actually fun.
Yeah, some of them are really good.
I was like, oh, these are legit. So I'm gonna have to put that on, because I'm pretty sure they got it for PC.
The one Legend of the Dragoon?
Yeah.
There's I don't know. I'm sure there's an emulator at the very least that you could
Even
play.
If they don't, I have that's PlayStation 1.
Dude, I need a PS1 so I can play them.
That's a PlayStation 1 game?
Yeah.
I have one. So I can just set it up and just go buy it.
Yeah. I will say it's like a $40 game, but
I mean,
for a PS1 game, it's kind of a little pricey, but it's not too
paying
bad.
like $70 for games now. Like it was like $40 when it came out.
Yeah. Yeah, it was probably like $10 when it came out.
Those games back in the day, I wish we could go back to those.
But yeah, that's gonna be my three. I think I could have maybe picked something a little more solid, but that's a personal favorite, so I'm gonna put it up there.
Okay, so this is my three.
Yep.
My third one. I might have to go NBA Streets Volume 2.
Ooh, I thought you were gonna go Jam.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go NBA Streets Volume 2. That game. If they put that game out right now, I'll stop playing 2K to play it. Like I will stop playing NBA 2K to replay NBA 2K Volume 2. I said NBA 2K, NBA Streets Volume 2. That game was great, from the dribble moves to the and one style to the dunks. Beautiful game.
Me and CJ kind of talked about this not too long ago. That it seems like something happened like around the time when like 2K came out that they just like stopped trying to make
sports games,
like video game sports games, if that makes sense. Like they stopped trying to make sports games that are like unrealistic.
Yeah, you know, NBA Live and 2K were competing like back and forth, and for like the basketball side of it, and then 2K won. Like now, other than Madden that had football, like they had a lot of like Blitz. Blitz was a great game.
Or they had like monster football and shit like that.
Yeah,
they used to have a lot of like, they were sports games, but there was a lot of like video game elements to them that made it just made it fun rather than being like
just a football game.
Your character's sweat level is at 42% or shit. Yeah. Like, it's like, who gives a fuck? Like,
we instead of Madden, it was this game called Game Day. That was a football game.
I remember that.
That had to be one of the best football games that was out, and they stopped making it. Like, I don't know why. That game was amazing. Like it played like real football, but I think like they had like different like little super power-ups or something. Like your dude can run like super fast or like jump super high.
Like that's the stuff that's fun, man. It's like
like he had different. They had different. Like your quarterback could throw super accurate like passes. It was like this makes like Blitz. It wasn't like super accurate, but getting your back broke, pause, and then having to like to eject the little needle in the right spot. It was fun. Like they don't make games like that no more, really, and it sucks.
They know that. I mean, this is honestly a kind of an issue with all games, not just sports games. Is there's not as much innovation anymore. There's a lot. They know that they can stay in this pocket and they can make a stupid amount of money if they just stay in this pocket. And so there's not a whole lot of innovating going on, especially with the AAA companies. A lot of AAA companies aren't taking these risks. They're like, we can make our money back in some if we just release 2K23 and 2K24 and 25 and 26. If we just keep doing this, people will keep buying it, and people will keep buying their fucking whatever their 2K bucks or whatever. Yeah, and then fucking it's just, it is what it is. They know how they're making that money. They don't need to fucking innovate. So,
which is it's that low key. I wish I went to school to be a video game designer instead of a chef. I mean, I could cook, but like, I feel like me and you could come up with a super dope game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That everybody could play. Like I can make a game for the phone, but like a video game.
Well, the passion's just not there anymore. It's like it's all about the money. I've been saying this for years, is that there's too much money in video games now. And so what's happening is the companies are being ruled by their shareholders and the people at the top that don't give a fuck about the quality of the games. It used to be once upon a time that 3 dudes in a basement could make a fucking kick-ass game, and so it was their passion project. It was this like they really cared about the quality of the game and what it was going to be. And so it used to be, you know, you'd get these games that were just fucking amazing. And that's not to say there's no good games at all anymore, but I mean, how many times in the last 5 years have there been releases of games where people are like hyping it the fuck up, and it releases, and on release it's half complete, or it's so buggy you can't even play it, or I mean, like, it's so many games.
That goes back to my point of saying they put out incomplete games and then offer a DLC to fix it.
Yeah.
When back in the day, they worked and made sure that the game was complete.
Yeah, because it was because they had to. Well, at one point there was no updates. There was no live service, so it wasn't like you could just you get online and there would be an update today and they would fix all the bugs. It was like, if the game released like that, that was just how the game was. That game just has that glitch forever.
And that made like, oh yeah, I'm going to make sure this game is good, because if not, I'm gonna get dragged.
Right.
They're like, oh, this glitch here, I can't get past this glitch. And now they're like, look, I'm gonna drop an update. But back in the day, if you can't drop no update in Tomb Raider,
if Lara Croft, for whatever reason, her boob on the left side was like 3 times larger than it should be, like, then that's just how it was gonna be all game for every game.
Yeah, like that. And I think that part of the game made developers lazy, because they can just say, oh, I'll just drop an update, or I'll just give a DLC, so I don't really have to make a finished game per se. I think they use us as like test subjects. Like, oh, okay. Instead of paying people to test the game, let's give them the game, and then when it messes up, we just update that.
So, NBA Street 2?
Yep. Streets Volume 2. NBA Streets Volume 2 is my 3rd pick.
Then my 4th pick is going to be Red Dead Redemption 2.
That was a great game. And it had multiple endings.
Yeah, I mean, I think even to like this day, I don't think there is a single game that has more detail in it than Red Dead Redemption 2. The amount of fucking detail in that game is ridiculous. I mean, even to this day, people still post clips of like, did you know that in this one certain area, if this happens, like, you know what I mean? Like, and those finer details are what really make a game shine. Obviously, the game has to be good at its base, but having a game that's super good at its base and then also all these super fine details is like, oh, it's so good.
That was a great game. And like, I heard if you don't do like one of these missions that give you the black lung, he actually lives. I have to go back and replay it to see, but it's like the mission where you go collect the money and that one guy coughs on you.
Oh yeah.
That mission gives you the black lung. So I heard if you don't do that mission, you stay alive.
Is there an option to not do it? I always thought that was like a story mission.
So. I don't think so, but I've heard from one of my friends, he was like, yeah, you just don't do that mission.
But you just don't progress the story ever and he doesn't die.
I don't want him to die. I don't want him to die. He has to stay alive. But yeah, that game was good. Even though
that was the only hiccup for me in the whole game was going from playing Arthur and getting to that like climax of the story, and then you have to go straight to playing John, and it's like an hour or 2 hours of like building a farm simulator. And it's like that fucking like almost killed it for me a little bit, because it was like the momentum was like this, and then all of a sudden, and then they're like, "You're a farmer now," and I'm like, "I was just a cowboy like 5 minutes ago. What the fuck happened?"
I was out here killing people.
Yeah, I was
running high.
Revenge story, like, and then it circles back around and it does get good again. But it was like, yeah, that, I don't know, that part for me felt very like long and drawn out. And I remember specifically while it was happening being like, yo, when is this gonna end? I don't want to fucking herd a single more cow. This is fuck this. But
even the online mode was pretty good though.
I never actually played the online mode. I think it hadn't come out yet when I played it.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty good. You was up there. You had like bounties and stuff as well. You could be like a cowboy or a cop.
Actually, you know what? I think I did play it like once when they had come out with like the heists that you could do. I think I did play it like once or twice.
You could get like a gang to put them together and whatnot. That was a Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2. I think, yeah, like you said, there's no other game that was like that.
Yeah,
I don't think another game came out like that ever since.
I mean, the only other game I can think that's even similar at all would be there used to be a game called Gun.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's all it was called. It was Gun and Gun 2, and it was I want to say you were like an undead cowboy, like and you like came back as this undead cowboy, and I might be wrong on that. It might be a different game that I'm thinking of, but I think that's what it was. But that game was actually lit as fuck too. I rented it one time for Blockbuster. That shit was actually really cool.
I remember Blockbuster.
Yeah, back in the day before Netflix.
Oh man. So that was your 4?
Yeah, that's my 4. Red Dead Redemption 2.
I'm gonna say Batman Arkham Knights.
Arkham Knights? Ooh, you're gonna get shit for that one. I'm gonna be honest.
Was Arkham Knights or Arkham Asylum?
Asylum's the first one. Knights is the... If you're talking about Gotham Knights, that's like the newest one.
No, not Gotham. No. Although...
Because there's Asylum, City...
Yeah, they do have Arkham Knight, Batman Arkham Knight. Yeah, I like that one.
Oh, okay, maybe I'm thinking... That's what I thought you meant. Yeah, Arkham Knight.
Although, the whole Arkham trilogy was great. But, yeah, so Batman Arkham Knights or the trilogy, whichever one. I like the trilogy. I like all 3 of those. That was a great game, and the fighting style was amazing. Now, the one that you were talking about with the kids, I think that's like Gotham Knights or whatever.
That was the one where you could pick, like, you could be Robin or Red Hood.
Yeah, the different Robins.
Gotham Knights, that's the one I was thinking of.
People might hate me for this, but that was a good game. And let me tell you why. The fighting style, they wanted it to be like Arkham Knights. People wanted it to be like Arkham Knights. But you have to realize they're not Batman. They're still Robin.
I think like people's biggest problem was that it was just like rinse, wash, repeat. Like it was just, there wasn't a lot of depth to the game, like in terms of like what you were doing. It was mostly just like, here's a multiplayer Arkham game.
No, it was a little bit of depth in it.
I'm just arguing what I've seen people say about it. I haven't actually played it, so I don't have much grounds to stand on.
It was a good game. Like people went in it already thinking that the game was gonna suck. Before the game even came out, people were like, "Oh, this game sucks." It's
the worst game of the year.
People were definitely saying like, "Oh, this game sucks." Like, how do you know? You didn't even play it.
I think
I
Arkham
played
Knight
it.
is actually Arkham Knight's. I didn't play that one. That's why I got confused. Is that that's the one with
I think that's the last one in the series.
Azazel in it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's the one I didn't play. I've watched a playthrough on it, but I played Asylum and City.
It's you should play it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's good.
It's definitely a great game. All of the Batmans were great. Like I don't remember either one of the Arkham trilogy being bad.
No, I mean Asylum was very much like, I remember when I first played it, I was like, oh, it's like Assassin's Creed, but you're Batman. But because like the way the fighting was, and it was like the whole like the counter, and just all of a sudden now you're just like doing 9 jujitsu moves on this guy and kicking him in the throat.
I like that people still post gameplay. That's how you can tell like if games were very good, because they still have content being posted today.
Right.
Like they have Batman just sneaking up on people. It's like, man, it'd suck if Batman was here, and he turns around and Batman is like right there. Like Batman Arkham Knights was, it like you said, it was a game of its time. There was no really other game out like that. Other than like you said, Assassin's Creed, but
yeah, I mean it wasn't like Assassin's Creed 100%.
It was more like
there
the
was similarities. Yeah.
Yeah, so I like it. That was definitely one of my top 5 games. I played that to completion as well. Even the Riddler challenges.
Oh yeah.
I made sure to do all of it. And that's my favorite superhero, as you know. And as I can tell, that is your favorite superhero.
No. Fuck Batman.
But yeah, what?
Fuck Batman, dude. Fuck him, dude. I hate him, bro.
You said Bat who?
Yeah.
But he's my favorite superhero, so I had to put that game in my top 5.
I knew there was a reason we got along. Yeah, that's a pretty solid pick. Honestly, I can't hate on that. I played it for the 360 though, so I guess in my mind I associate that with Xbox, yeah.
Understandable.
You ready for this?
Your last pick, yeah. Let's go.
I don't think you're ready for this.
I am.
So, this might be a little controversial because I could have picked a more popular game, but this is my personal favorite of them. Tony Hawk's Underground. The first one. Now, I could have said Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
That's what I was about to say. Why not that one? Because that's the one out.
2 is obviously super popular. But Tony Hawk Underground, when it first came out, was also pretty popular. And Tony Hawk Underground was like the first one that was sort of open world a little bit. Like obviously the levels are, especially nowadays, if you went back and played it, you'd be like, this is not open world, but like it felt like it at the time. Like there wasn't a lot of games where it was like you could kind of go and skate around the city and do whatever you wanted. And so it felt like it was open world, and it was, I don't know, I think part of it was I was really into like Jackass and stuff like that, and so like there's like cameos from like Jackass characters, and like it feels like there's a lot more of the like skater lifestyle in the Underground game. Plus you could like customize your character the way you wanted, and all that stuff. Quick honorable mention, there used to be a game called, actually I'm not totally sure on the name, but I think it was called Disney Skate. let me
I don't think
look.
I've heard of that one.
Disney Extreme Skate Adventure.
I'll look that up.
Now,
I've never heard of that.
this, look, I know it's Disney, and you're like, what are you saying right now? That's insane. But I'm telling you, I played all the Tony Hawks. I played all the other skate games. And this game was up there. Like, this game was litty as hell. You could customize your character, and the customization on your character was pretty crazy at the time, I remember. And
you got Buzz Lightyear in here?
so in this one, it was like you would go around to the different like movies.
Oh wow.
And so like one level would be you were like in Tarzan's world and you had to go, and it was very much structured like the Tony Hawk Underground games, where you'd have to like go up and talk to people and be like, and he'd be like, hey dude, I'm Tarzan, you gotta skate 7 vines and rescue Jane, bro. And you'd be like, oh shit, man, I got you. Check this sick 180, and you'd fucking skate off
the grind is vine.
Right. It was actually fun. I remember thinking, wow, this is an awesome game. So yeah, that's my honorable mention. But my number 5, Tony Hawk Underground.
I can see. I would have picked.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's plenty of other people that agree with you that are like, you blew it. You should have picked number 2. Like, I get it.
Since you went skateboarding,
I tried to pick, like we said, this is our top 5, not the top 5. If I had to pick a top 5 ever, it would be in my list.
Okay. So since you went skateboarding, this one was probably going to be higher up the list. But I was like, we ain't gonna pick this one. So I saved it for number 5.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did.
It's SSX Tricky.
Dude. That was the game.
That game.
To rock and rock.
That game was so much fun. Oh my god, man. Like, when I tell you I wasted hours on that game, just going from the top mountain all the way down to the bottom one.
Used to play that. I don't even think I actually owned the game. Now that I think about it, I think I had. Remember back in the day when they would give you like those demo discs, and there'd be like 4 games on there, but you could only play like the first or second level or something like that. I think I had one of those of SSX Tricky, and I would just play like the first and second level like all the time. Like we would just get on and play it.
That game was fire. Like, I have an Xbox today because they let you play that game on the Xbox. That's the only reason why I have an Xbox to this day. Like, that game was so good. Like, if they had an online mode, like, that's another game I think that they should remake and put an online mode on there.
Oh yeah.
And have people compete against, like, another SSX, like SSX Tricky, another game like that.
I remember I used to play that one, and there was one called Cool Borders 4, and I used to play that one too.
Cool Borders 4. Honorable mention, this is not a PlayStation game, it's a Nintendo game. Snowboard Kids.
I love how both of our honorable mentions are like questionable. If you've never played Snowboard Kids, find it on your PC and play it. It is fun. Like, you have to find it. Like that. Y'all out there in the internet world, if y'all ever play Snowboard Kids, let me know, because that game is fun. But SSX, definitely number 5. All right. Solid picks. Well, you guys let us know what you think we said wrong and what your top 5 are. So, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace.